Welcome to today's podcast. I'm your host. My name is Damien, and the name of the podcast is Club 13. This is the very first episode of Club 13. Welcome. So, Club 13 is a podcast about life in general, but specifically about improving you as an individual. That is what we're aiming at. At the end of the day, from each episode, I hope I'll be making a change in your life. My hope is that you become a better individual, the best you. That is the aim of this podcast. Now, today's topic, I'll start us off with a quote. Somebody once said, it's an artist. It's called Tipo Juok. You can't take responsibility for the state of the road, but you can take responsibility for your driving. If you're a driver, you're driving down the road. There are so many challenges, there are so many hurdles on the road, maybe potholes, maybe the signage is not so well done. You cannot take responsibility for all that. But you're driving, how you maneuver the hurdles, how you maneuver the potholes, the bumps, and what have you, you can definitely take responsibility for that. I want to talk about something that is very dear to me. Like I said, the name of the podcast is Club 13, club where we share knowledge about self-improvement. For me, if we can have a society of individuals who have a strict social, economic, and spiritual code that we abide by, it will help in making us better individuals, because we need to have strong mental, physical, and spiritual strength. We need that. It's the only way you gain stability in life, social stability, there is economic stability, and even spiritual stability. But it starts with the individual. For us to improve the society, we have to start with the individual. It always starts with the individual. Michael Jackson says he's starting with the man in the mirror. You have to start with the man in the mirror. That is you, the individual. I, the individual. So today I thought of starting from the ground. We are building from the ground up. And I want us to start talking about the individual versus the society. The individual is the self, you. You have different individuals, they form a society. The society has norms, customs, traditions that bring us together. Some people describe or define society as a network of relationships between people or between groups. I like that definition. Others say it's a collection of people or organization of persons. Some others are of the idea that it is a large group of people interacting in a defined territory, sharing common culture. So basically, there has to be people in a society. There has to be a group. An individual is not a society. The society cannot exist without individuals, but the individual can exist without a society. And so I think it is very important to know yourself. As an individual, know yourself. For you to help yourself, you need to know yourself as an individual. Once you know yourself, you'll be able to find your place in the society and contribute. Because in life, you need a purpose. You will find your purpose in the society only after you know who you are and what you're bringing to the table. How do you find out all this? Personally, I believe that an individual has three elements to themselves. There is your spiritual part. For me, spirituality is different from religion. A human being has a spiritual side, physical side, and you have your mental side. Three elements. Some people use their will instead of spirituality. Physical can also represent the material things around you, and the mental is your faculties. You might be asking, what is the difference between spirituality and religion? For me, spirituality is your connection to yourself, to others, to nature, and to the sacred. A spiritual person is somebody who has a connection to himself, to the people around him, and the environment, nature, and also the sacred, meaning your creator, the Almighty. It's not just a relationship between you and your creator, but also his creation. While religion, on the other hand, is basically organized beliefs and doctrines. So we have religious institutions. Now, these institutions have their own doctrines, things they stand for, their ways of customs as well. So institutions can also be described as societies. So if a society is a network of relationships, then you have people in this group, religious institutions, that come together for one, and they have norms and customs that hold them together. Religious institutions have doctrines that they abide by. So for me, spirituality goes beyond your religion. Spirituality is the connection to yourself, connection to people around you, humanity, and connection to your nature, your environment. Most importantly, connection to the sacred, the Almighty. Religions are built around institutions, while spirituality is built around the self and the relations. The self, you, the individual, has a spiritual side. Every one of us has a spiritual side that we need to get in touch with. And we rely on spirituality mostly for moral guidance. The individual has a physical side, your body. I believe for you to be a healthy and productive individual, you have to ensure that your body is well taken care of. It means that you're eating right, according to your budget, of course. You're not putting a lot of waste in your body. Somebody once said, we are what we eat. If you eat junk, you are junk. If you eat a balanced diet, then you have a balanced body. So you have spiritual nourishment you get from your spirituality, you have physical nourishment you get from food. Being healthy also involves exercises. A human being needs to move around. It is not healthy to sit around the whole day. You need to move. I've seen people leaning towards their spiritual more than their physical, and they're unhealthy. Since I was a kid, I've always been told prevention is better than cure. How do you prevent getting ill? Eating right, healthy living, exercise, very good for you. The other aspect is also the mental. You have to have the right drive. You have to be motivated. Also mentally, I think also you have your mental faculties. You have to think. Some people are scared of thinking. You have to think and apply yourself. I've seen a lot of people going to the fundi, simple things like plumbing issues. Somebody goes to the fundi, your remote is not working. You take it to the fundi. Instead of replacing the batteries, maybe that is the problem. People are not interested in fixing things. People don't want to think. A human being has mental element, physical element, spiritual element. There is mental exercise, spiritual exercises, and physical exercises as well. There are different institutions in the society. I think the basic institution in the society is the family. We have schools as institutions of learning. There are also, if we get down to the definition of what a society is, these institutions are also societies in themselves. There is also religious institutions. Those are the basic institutions that we have in a society. They are societies in themselves. Nowadays, we have other forms of society. We have social media, for example. You belong to groups where you discuss various things. You have your norms, you have your rules and regulations, things you follow, your traditions. That can be defined as a society as well. Then you have your peers, your friends. You have various groups or gangs. I have a saying that there's different sides to an individual. And the side that the individual decides to present to you is determined by the institution or the society he is in at the moment. The way I behave in school is not the way I behave in church, is not the way I behave at home, is not the way I behave when you meet me in the streets or when you meet me with my friends. So the individual has a plurality to themselves. How do you become a better person? Personally, I think you have 24 hours in a day. Somebody once said that the 24 hours in a day are divided into 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of socialization. As a human being, we need to socialize. So socialization is key element. You need to interact with people. You need to have conflict. You need to resolve them. You need to make friends. You need to make enemies. That is part of being a human being. And if you divide 24 hours into 3 main things you do, you work, you sleep, you socialize. I'm assuming the 8 hours of socialization also involves food and involves also exercises. If we are going to be working for 8 hours, you need to sleep for 8 hours. Sleep is very important. Too much of anything is bad. You need at least 8 hours of sleep. Personally, what I do is I ensure I get around 8 hours of sleep every day. The least I can get is 7 hours. When I have a lot of work to do, I do 7 hours of sleep. The most I do is 8 hours. I don't sleep more than 8 hours. As the game says, sleep is a cousin of death. You know, we are creatures of habit. So if you make it a habit of sleeping for 8 hours, you will have a very productive day when you're well rested. They've done studies of when to eat before you sleep, the time it takes for the food to be digested in your stomach, so that by the time you're sleeping, your brain also shuts down a lot of functions in your body, and your body is able to recuperate. Scientists also talk about how your brain needs time to back up your memory, go through what you went through the whole day, etc. You need to learn how to go to sleep. There's common things. We have our phones that interfere with our lives. You go to bed with your phone in your hand, you're not going to sleep. You're going to go on TikTok, you're going to go on YouTube, you're going to be scrolling and watching a lot of videos. There's so much entertainment around that if you don't discipline yourself to keep your phone away before you sleep, you might not catch any sleep. What I would recommend is you leave your phone in the sitting room, go to the bedroom, or you put it on the table away from you. If you're using Wi-Fi, switch off the Wi-Fi. Then you'll not be tempted to go look at your phone. But you need to train yourself not to be looking at your phone when it's time to go to bed. Move away from the screen for you to have a good night's sleep. You need to have a routine. When do you go to bed? When do you wake up? If you decide you go to bed at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, then do your 8 hours. Then set your alarm. I'm sure if you have an alarm set for a whole week, the following week you have already started getting used to waking up at that particular time, going to bed at that particular time. Unless you have emergencies, you should be sleeping, you should program yourself to sleep at an exact time. So it is easier for your system. What do you do when you wake up in the morning? This is what I suggest. I suggest that when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you need to do, take a few minutes and just sit with yourself, reflect, have a moment of silence where you're just planning your day, or you're just quiet with yourself. Have a few minutes with yourself. And then you can take a book, pick a book and read. Read. Remember, feed your brain. Read. Exercise. You don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to always go for a jog. Pick one exercise that you like that touches most of your muscles in your body and do it every day. If, for example, you say, I'll be doing 10 push-ups per day. Wake up, do your 10 push-ups per day. The key here is being consistent with what you do. Consistent with the time you go to sleep, consistent with the time you wake up, consistent with the exercises that you're doing. Consistency is what we are preaching here today. After doing your exercises, obviously, hygiene is very important. You need to take a shower and eat. A lot of us don't take proper breakfast. Suggest you do a proper breakfast in the morning. Most of us, our breakfast is chai na mkate. Well, that is not good enough. Eat. My opinion is, or what I do, I do 2 meals a day. You don't actually need 3 meals a day. 2 meals a day is enough. I eat in the morning and I eat around 3. So it depends on how busy my day is. If I have an early day and I have to leave the house, then I'll eat at 6. 6 hours later, eat again. And then I'll eat something light in the evening. But normally, on a normal day, I do not eat that early. I eat around 9 o'clock. My breakfast, I have breakfast at 9 o'clock and it's a proper breakfast. Kama ni ugali, finya ugali vizuri. If it is rice, chapati, whatever food you eat in the morning. Before you leave for work, eat. You can go the whole day. You will have sufficient energy for the whole day if you do a good breakfast. Then I make it a habit of eating at 3 o'clock. If I do 9, I'll eat 3 o'clock. If I'm feeling hungry in the evening, I'll eat a fruit, maybe a banana, but I've trained my body in such a way that it doesn't really bother me. I don't get hungry because I'm used to it. We are creatures of habit. If you train your body to eat all the time, you'll always be eating. You need to train your body, discipline yourself to eat. You don't have to eat 2 times a day, but the third meal is a waste. Especially eating in the evening. I'm not a scientist, not a nutritionist. It's just I see what works and what doesn't. Just pragmatic. We don't need 3 meals. Plus, it's our culture, I think. It's our tradition that we eat very light breakfast. and heavy dinner or supper. That's wrong. You need to eat heavy breakfast so that you have energy for the whole day. That heavy supper you're eating, what is it for? Are you a night runner? Are you going night running? If you're a night runner, eat heavy supper because you need the energy for running around. If you're a normal person like me, 2 meals is okay for you. Sikia mtu anasema, oh, nafikiria mwili inajengwa na kokoto. Mwili haijengwi na kokoto. Yes, I agree. Too much of anything is bad for your health. Too little is also bad for your health. Too much is bad for your health. And remember, as an individual, you want to be healthy. So what you consume, and we also said you are what you eat. Don't eat too much. Don't overdo it. So 24 hours. We have slept for 8 hours. We've woken up. Now, eating, socializing, that goes with another 8 hours. If you are an early riser, you start early, means you sleep early as well. So as an individual, you need that. Then work. Ensure you're busy doing work, contributing to the society for 8 hours in your day. I don't know how you can, if you like, you can stagger your work throughout the day, but you have to work. People have to work. We need to work. Nothing comes easy. You have to work for it. If you're a student, that is your profession, then your work involves your studies. This idea of people just lazing around and wishing for money to come from somewhere, they get a jackpot. Nah, can't work like that. You have to work. Find work. If you can't find work, create work. You cannot be socializing. Social media is part of your socialization. So you're on your screens for 16 hours a day. Self-reflection is a key part that I want to talk about. You need to self-reflect. Most of us want to change the world, but we are scared of changing ourselves. I call this segment Conversations with the Man in the Mirror. So you have your 8 hours. The first 8 hours you've slept. The next 8 hours you've worked. The other 8 hours you're socializing and eating. So within the 24 hours, you have rested, sleep. You have done your self-reflection. You have exercised your brain. You've read. You've learned something new. I make it a point to learn something new every day. Always aim to learn something new. You have to learn something new every day. Then that is part of mental exercising. Then you also do physical exercise as part of your socialization. You have to eat healthy. That is 24 hours well spent. Now, when you're having these conversations with yourself in the mirror, Michael Jackson said, I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I need you to start talking to the man in the mirror. Basically, ask yourself, what is your worth? What are you worth? What is your contribution to the society? You are the individual. You need to figure out what your worth is. They say time is money, which is true. And we use money to put value on things. Your value is in your time. How do you spend your time? Are you making any positive contributions to the society? Remember, there's an individual and there's a society. You can't just be an individual who doesn't contribute to the society. Now remember, the society has norms, traditions, values that they uphold. For you to be accepted in the society, you have to adhere to the norms set by the society. If you oppose the norms, then you can always leave and start your own society. I have my principles that I stand for. Number one, you cannot add me to a group before consulting me. If I wasn't consulted, I get into the group and I just leave. Before I join any group, I have to ask, what is the objective of the group? There's no point of joining groups just because people join groups. No. You have to have your individuality. You have to have your principles, things you stand for. And I've left a lot of groups. There are a few reasons why I leave a lot of groups. Number one on my list is religion. You join a group, they say it's for X, Y, Z, and then you always have that pastor. That one person who thinks it's their job to preach like they are making any positive contribution to my life by preaching. I can read. I know what the word says in different religions. I don't need somebody to come and preach to me in a group. As much as we are individuals and we belong to a society, you have to appreciate that other individuals might not have the same dreams, want the same things as you. You might want to go to heaven, somebody else wants to go to hell. So you have to respect their options and choices. I have nothing against religion. Just have something against individuals who make assumptions. So one of the biggest reasons why I leave a lot of groups is that religion. Somebody starts preaching, I'm out. There are groups that I never join. If it's a group, a wedding, something, contributions, committee, I'm out. Because I believe that a wedding or marriage is between two families. If I'm not part of your family, I should not be involved in that. If you're planning a wedding, plan a wedding according to your budget. Don't go bringing people into groups to talk about contributing money to your wedding. People marry because of different reasons. If you need the certification of marriage, just go to the AG's office, carry 2 witnesses. I would rather buy Pampers when your baby comes along. That is more useful than contributing to your wedding. This idea of people planning weddings beyond their means, beyond their budgets, and then you become beggars because of a wedding. Why? You want to show off? Just go to the AG's office, get your certificates, and you're done. Doesn't take long. So I was talking about you standing in front of a mirror. I suggest go and stand. Do this exercise. Go and stand in front of your mirror naked. Look at yourself. Look at all your imperfections. Embrace your imperfections. That is you. The person you're seeing across on the mirror is you. Learn to embrace your defects. If you're dark, you're dark. If you're light skin, you're light skin. If you're short, you're short. You can't do anything about it. That's your height. Why lighten your skin? Why? We must learn to accept ourselves the way we are, the way we were created. The Almighty is not stupid giving you that color of skin. I can never hold a discussion with somebody who was bleached. What is it that you have to say that is so important, that is going to add value to my life? And you have bleached. You have bleached. What are you telling me? You had such low self-esteem that you had to go and change the color of your skin. I'm even rhyming. Wow. You have bleached. What are you telling me? Nonsense. There's nothing you're telling me. Bleaching is the lowest form of low self-esteem. Black or dark skin is good. There are reasons why we have dark skin. You don't need to have gone to uni to know this. That melanin in your skin is good for you. You are not inferior because of the color of your skin. You become inferior because of your mental weaknesses. I'm not even going to go on about body weight. I mean, if you're overweight, you can do something about it. But height, if you're short, you want to be taller, or if you're born dark, embrace it. Don't go bleaching your skin. You don't qualify to talk to me. You have bleached. You have low self-esteem. You think having a lighter skin tone makes you better. I hear people saying rangi ya thao. Rangi ya thao, my food. There are side effects those chemicals have on your body. Second thing is the issue of weight. We have fat people. Then we have slim people. Yes, they say sometimes it's genes, sometimes it's a disease. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who've let themselves go. They eat anything and everything. As long as it can go into the mouth, they will eat it. Do the exercise. Stand naked in front of your mirror. Look at yourself. Are you happy with what you're seeing? Are you happy with that weight? Thing about weight is you can lose weight. And there's a lot of healthy ways to lose weight. You can go to the gym. You can decide on what you're eating. I mean, it's up to you. Being overweight, if you don't have any medical issues, I think being overweight is a sign of laziness. You don't even need gym equipment to lose weight. Go for a walk. Go jogging. That's all you need to do. Lose weight. Be selective in what you're eating. Your health is your wealth. If you're not healthy, it's not easy to be wealthy. You'll spend a lot of time treating illnesses. Lose that weight. It's something you can do. You can do easily. You can do something about your weight. Let us not be confused by standards set on social media of what beauty is or is not. Remember, you're not going to lose weight in a day. Nah, it takes time. It takes time. You can go to the gym all you want. If you're still eating the same junk you've eaten, you'll never lose weight. You must start with what you eat. Remember, I said, we are what we eat. Stop bleaching. Lose that weight. This is how you build the self. Because as an individual, you need to be confident. For you to find your worth, your value, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and accept yourself. Do an analysis, a SWOT analysis, your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities that you have around you, and the threats to your opportunities. I always do a SWOT analysis of myself. Once you have embraced your weaknesses, you have embraced you, the physical appearance. If you don't like your weight, lose it. If you feel like you're too small, add weight. But don't bleach your skin color. Doesn't help with anything. There is no advantage to bleaching your skin. There's no advantage of bleaching your skin. Only disadvantages. So have conversations with the man in the mirror and figure out what you are really worth. Confident people are worth more than people who lack confidence. And so you're looking at your mirror and you're doing your SWOT analysis. Learn a skill. Please learn a skill. It's important that you have a skill. What is your skill? There are so many skills you can learn. Learn a skill. Don't just sit around on your couch the whole day. Smoke some, drink some, eat, sleep, ask for money. Find a skill. Doesn't matter what the skill is. If you have a skill, you can never lack a job. You can go to school all you want. If you have no skill, you're not going to be employed. So what? You've gone to school. You don't have a skill. What was the point of going to school without a skill? Find a skill. Find something you can do. Be good at it. You get paid for what you're good at. You get paid for your skills. Let me talk to the men. You're going to be paid for your skills, the services you can offer. And you'll earn more if you're really good at what you do. You're not going to be paid for your looks. Maybe in modeling. For men, we don't care about your looks. You must find a skill. When you're doing your analysis, what are your weaknesses? You have to look at yourself honestly and list your weaknesses. What are your weaknesses? Once you know your weaknesses, once you've identified your weaknesses, then you can do something about them. You can improve, work on your weaknesses. What are your strengths? What are you good at? This is the only way to know your worth. What are your strengths? What opportunities do you have? Because you now have your skills. You have your strengths. And you know your limitations as well. So with your strengths and with your limitations, what are the opportunities around you? What are some of the hurdles? Threats to your opportunities. What are the hurdles standing between you and your opportunities? This is being pragmatic. You have to be down to earth. There's nothing that cannot be monetized. You've seen lorries, exhauster lorries, going around with phrase Mavi ni pesa. Anything can be monetized. But the best way to earn money is to have a skill. It is important for men to know how to do one or two things with their hands. Kuna wanaume tu wanajua kuongea. Use your hands as well. Learn a skill. Go out there and learn a skill. Learn carpentry. Utalala njaa. Learn welding. Learn a skill. And don't be scared to get your hands dirty. I always say, not everybody is royalty. But for you to make something for yourself, you have to work. Fold your sleeves, roll up your sleeves, get your hands dirty. You can only do that when you have a skill. Huwezi kaa tu hapo unaamka, unalala, unacheza video games. You must have a skill, learn a skill. So I'm recommending, do a SWOT analysis of yourself. I like concentrating on my weaknesses and the threats to my opportunities so that I have a plan. I know where I'm going and how I'm going to go about the weaknesses, how I'm going to improve my weaknesses and how I'm going to find a workaround the threats to my opportunities. You're born into a society, you have to learn values, norms, traditions. You go to school, you go to church, you go to the mosque, your religious institutions. If you just go to these institutions because people are going, you never get to learn anything. Find something you're passionate about. Look at the skills necessary, learn the skills, and then you can earn from your skills. Have that conversation with the man in the mirror. Candid conversation with the man in the mirror. Ask yourself, what are you worth? Your network is your net worth. Once you have a skill and you're really good at, be good at one thing. Yes, you might be a jack of all trades, but be very good at one thing. The rest you can also know how to do, but be good at one thing. When you're good at something, people will value you. I said at the end of the day, when you're looking and talking to the man in the mirror, you're asking, what am I worth? Now, once you have a skill that you're really good at, you can start to find your place in the society and find a purpose for your life. You have to contribute to the community, contribute to the society with your skill. If your skill is talking, talk. It's a skill. Get a job as a presenter, talk. Learn a skill. This is especially for men. Learn a skill. Work on yourself. Have a conversation with the man in the mirror. Candid conversation. Then work on your weaknesses. Do more of your strengths. Figure out your opportunities. Take care of your threats. Work on you.